What's good, everyone? The Grizzlies win last night 120-119 over the Houston Rockets to get one of the 4 games in the regular season series against the Houston Rockets. And it was a fiery game with lots to talk about, and I'm going to try to be as brief as I can. But before we get there, I am Uncle Buck of the 2 Buck Sports Show, a show that comes on Bluff City Media's YouTube and Twitter accounts every single Tuesday and Thursday at noon. For your lunch break, come check us out. Get in the comments. We'd love to have you. But the Grizzlies, like I said, win 120-119 over the Houston Rockets in a game that has multiple storylines. I mean, so much was going on in that game last night, and it started in the pregame. Pregame on TNT, Jaren Jackson Jr. was announced as an All-Star reserve for his second trip to All-Star weekend as an All-Star, and it is not more deserved by any player in the Western Conference as far as I'm concerned. He has been incredible from start to finish. He's missed 2 games all year, and it is the first 2 games of the year. So he has just been an Iron Man since the first game he stepped onto the court for the Memphis Grizzlies this year. He has been absolutely incredible, and he was really good tonight for your Memphis Grizzlies. There is one more headline I want to touch at the very end. That is one Demetrius Jamel Morant on the bench last night. I'm going to touch it briefly, but I've been pretty vocal about what I think about it. But before the game, listen, it didn't get off to a good start. You know, I think everybody was kind of down. Obviously, we're coming off of a massive blowout loss at Madison Square Garden against the Knicks, and a lot of people were just sour. I was one of those people, and I thought this was a real key game to where you had to respond and you had to show that you had some fight in you, because you got humiliated in Madison Square Garden on Monday night. And last night, Thursday night, the Grizzlies came to play, and it was ugly in the first half. The Grizzlies, I believe, at halftime had made 2 3-point shots for the game. They were 2 for 13, and the Rockets were shooting 40-something% from 3. I don't even know how the Grizzlies were in the game, if I'm being totally honest with you. The Grizzlies down 10 at the half, and then they go and win the third quarter by 6 and the fourth quarter by 5. If you do the math, a 10-point deficit, then an 11-point lead in the second half gives you a 1-point win, and it felt like a 1-point win because my heart was pumping, and it was just sheer chaos at the end of this game. Taylor Jenkins, if you remember back the last 2 times ago we played Houston, Desmond Bane sunk a 3 to take the lead, but Taylor took a timeout instead and allowed Houston to get their game plan together on defense and foul, and we ended up losing because of that timeout. And Taylor said it was a mistake. And so for this exact same situation happened, except the Grizzlies down by 1, and to get a defensive rebound, which was extremely difficult all night. You know, Steven Adams played a lot of minutes for the Rockets last night. You know how he offensive rebounds. For Jalen Willis to get that defensive rebound, go the full length of the court and dunk it, only for Taylor Jenkins to be awarded a timeout he did not ask for and proceed to lose his ever-loving mind, really just had me thinking like, okay, well, you know, we're cursed. I don't know what it is. I don't know who we've got to apologize to, what artifacts FedEx Forum was built on, but this is cursed. But it didn't matter, because what happened in crunch time with 12 seconds to go down by 1, we didn't run an extravagant play. This was not some out of timeout magicianship for Taylor Jenkins, but it was the smartest thing you could have done, because on the day that he was awarded his second All-Star appearance of his career, he just inbounded the ball to Jaren and said, go to work. And Jaren went to work. He did not get the foul. I mean, he did not make the bucket, but he did get the foul, and he did shoot both free throws. And it was, Houston went down and had a pretty decent shot to win it. A 3-pointer was shot by Fred VanVleet, but Jaren, who will be all NBA this year, will be probably in the top 3 of Defensive Player of the Year voting at the end of the year. Had a really solid contest of Fred VanVleet, and the shot misses, and the rebound is tapped around long enough for the clock to expire. So it was an amazing game for the Grizzlies last night. It was a game that I loved because I felt like I mean, my heart was racing. It's one of those games that you fight and you fight and you fight and you come out and you win a close game and you're just not ready to go to bed afterwards. And it was an 8:30 tip last night, so most of us expected to want to go to bed immediately after the game, but I found myself kind of wired. And so I tuned into Daniel and Nate on the Grizz 901 post-game show. Y'all should do that after every single game on the weekdays. But let's get to some stats. The Memphis Grizzlies, Desmond Bane was absolutely incredible. He played 40 minutes. That's New York Knicks minutes. He played 40 minutes. He scored 24 points. He had 12 rebounds, 6 assists. Weird is he only shot 2 threes in the whole game. That's something that's got to change. Like, he was downhill Daz all game, and it was great. You know, from 2, he shot 11 of 24. I'm pretty sure all 11 of those, or at least 8 of those 11 were just driving layups, it felt like. And he was really good getting to the basket off the drive. And just a really solid game. 12 rebounds is really, really good for Desmond Bane against a team that is known to rebound really well. Jaren Jackson Jr. played 31 minutes only because of foul trouble. He had 21 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal. Somehow no blocks. That's pretty impressive. He shot 7 of 15 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, and he had the most important drive of the game, which was a hard drive to the basket, fouling out Dylan Brooks, and making 2 shots to take the lead and ultimately win the game with a good contest. Amazing game for Jaren Jackson Jr. Brandon Clark was everywhere. Brandon Clark, I don't care what the stat sheet said. However, he did play 31 minutes, had 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. He was incredible. If you just watch that game, he is involved in everything, and he was just a masterclass today. And I think we need to talk about Point Luke right now, because Luke, it seems in his last couple games that he's gotten the start, Luke has been absolutely masterful. He's been a creator, getting into the lane, breaking down on a dribble, and getting to a layup, and getting to a floater, and then shooting threes. He had 22 points. He only had 9 off 3-point makes. So he went 3 of 6 from 3 and still had 22 points. And he only had 1 free throw. So if you take, he had 12 points inside the arc on, you know, floaters, layups, mid-range shots. He was really good last night. Even though his assist numbers weren't up very much. Jalen Wills really good, 11 points, had some key threes to extend some runs, to get the kind of momentum going. He was really good. GG was kind of struggled. Listen, GG's got to get his sea legs. He's not ready yet. And it's not, I don't think, has anything to do with his ability to play basketball. It's just his ability to run for long stretches of time and not get winded. He looked really rough in times in the game last night, but I have full confidence that GG is going to get back to what he's going to be. Houston, on the other hand, because I'm so sick and tired of hearing about Amen Thompson. He's all I've been hearing about on Twitter for the last week, as the Rockets were on that 4-game winning streak, and rightfully so. I mean, he's amazing. I'm just sick of talking about him. He had 21. He had 4 blocks. Jalen Green had 25 points on 21 shots. So you force Jalen Green to be pretty inefficient, which is good. Dylan Brooks, the scaredest I was through the whole game was that Dylan Brooks kind of got cooking. You know, he finished with 22 points, 2 rebounds. Of course, he had no steals. Of course he had no assists, because he was just firing yesterday. He shot 9 of 17 from the field. He had 3 threes on 7 attempts. He was good. He did foul out on that last play of the game. He got himself in foul trouble, guarding Jaren most of the time, and Jaren vice versa against Dylan. But anyways, all that's great. The Grizzlies win. You get that bad taste out of your mouth. But a good example of how Grizzlies fans we can't have anything nice is that despite this massive win, comeback win, bounce back win after the blowout against the Knicks, we're still talking about things that aren't great. There's still things that have to be discussed that aren't good in this massive successful game in which we won. We've got to talk about John Morant. John Morant popped up on the injury report yesterday morning, said he's questionable with shoulder. Yesterday afternoon, he moved it to doubtful, which means he wasn't playing, and sure enough, he was ruled out for the game. That in itself is not too alarming. You know, you've kind of deal with nagging stuff. It's a physical game. He's shown that he can't really be trusted for 10 games straight. Like he just got some nagging stuff. And the All-Star break, if he's actually hurt, is hopefully where he can rest up and be good for the stretch run of the season. However, the optics, him sitting on the second row at the very end of the bench with a hood on and a ski mask, and just seemed like he just sat there and, like I said, it looked like he was in timeout. Listen, it's very obvious that Ja's not happy right now. I hope it's just basketball related, if I'm being honest with you. I know that I've said on our show, I go to work with stuff from home bothering me all the time. There's life is messy sometimes, and you're not required to show up to work happy when you've got stuff going on in your personal life. And if there's anything that's going on with Ja in his personal life, man, I just really hope he talks to somebody, gets some help, because it's very obvious that he's not happy. If it's offense related, if it's team related, we got to sit down and have a powwow at some point. We've got to get on the same page, because if it is something, if he's unhappy with his role in this offense, which I think he is, but if that's affecting his availability for games now, because it looked, optics, I don't have sources on this team. This is just Drew Gann talking, speculating just from what I saw, and without trying to be critical, like, just seemed like he was in timeout. Like, if it was, you've seen John Morant cheer on his team through injuries, while being in street clothes before. This didn't look like that. That scares me. That seems like there's a rift between him and the team, or him and the coaching staff, that may or may not have attributed to him not playing last night. I don't know. We're getting close to the trade deadline, which is in 6 days. And then Valentine's Day weekend is All-Star break. And so I'm really hoping to see some progress between now and All-Star break. But then an All-Star break, we all just kind of need to feel like John needs to just go, and John and Taylor need to sit down and really share their feelings, unabashed, unfiltered feelings about each other at their role, and really come to find some commonalities between themselves and how they can go forward, and then just rest up and get healthy through the All-Star break. But the big stories of yesterday, the happy stuff is what we focus on, as what I focus on. One, Jaren Jackson Jr. is making his second All-Star appearance in his career, and he could not be more deserved. And two, the Grizzlies salvaged one game against the Houston Rockets in a very fun, very competitive, very playoff environment-esque matchup, which you took the lead with 13 seconds, with 4 seconds to go, and you didn't give it up. So we're all happy here. We're all happy. And on to the next. We've got Milwaukee on Monday night. Everybody have a good, happy, and safe weekend, and we'll see you guys on Monday.